Part A, write 1.63 times 10 to the minus 3 as an ordinary number. So what's an ordinary number? Well, an ordinary number is literally what you would expect a number to look like normally. And if you cast your eye to part B, you can see that this is actually, what you would typically expect a number to look like. That is an ordinary number, so in ordinary form. And what we have in part A is a number in standard form. And standard form is sort of like an efficient way of writing sometimes very big or very small numbers more efficiently, especially if they've got lots of zeros in them, as we'll see in a second. So 1.63, okay, that's fine. What is 10 to the minus 3? What does that actually mean? Well, if we look back at the place value table, and we put 10 in the place value table, this is like 10 to the power 1, 10 to the power positive 1, in other words, 10 to the power positive 1. This would be 10 to the power 0, in other words, 1. You can see there's a 1 in the units column, 10 to the power 0. This would be 10 to the power minus 1, and obviously you'd put a 0 in front there as well. So that's 10 to the power minus 1. This would be 10 to the power minus 2. And then this would be 10 to the power minus 3 as we jump to the right on the place value table. So 10 to the power minus 3 is 0.001. And if we are multiplying by that, the effect is this, and I'll show you. So you've got 1.63 and the effect of multiplying by 0.001 is that that number, 1.63, jumps 3 columns to the right. So the 1 is going to go 1, 2, 3, it's going to go there. So the 1 is going to go there. The 6 would go here, and the 3 would go here. And I'm going to fill in everything else with zeros. 0.00163. So that is my answer as an ordinary number, 0.00163. You can always check that as well. So you take your decimal point, and this is like the number of jumps it makes, and it's negative, so it's going to the right. So it's going 1 jump, 2 jumps, 3 jumps, and we do end up, if the decimal point was there, we would end up as at 1.63. So we know we've got that correct. So 0.00163. That is as an ordinary number. Okay, part B, write 438,000 in standard form. Now, standard form, there's a particular way you have to write it. So this kind of gives you a little bit of a hint up here, because this number up here was written in standard form. So what we need is a number, let's say A, and my A up here, if we go back here, let's just get rid of this ink, apologies. My A, which is just a number, in this case would be 1.63, multiplied by 10 to the power of some integer n. And as you can see, there it is up there, times 10, and my integer there was -3. Now, your A here must take the values greater than or equal to 1. Let's rewrite my inequality sign a bit better there. My pen jumped. So it's got to be greater than or equal to 1, but less than 10. You can have 9.9999, you can't have 10. So the only number I can get out of 438,000 that is greater than 1 but less than or equal to 10 is 4.8. Not 4.8. 4.38. I was distracted by my pen there. 4.38. I can't choose 43.8 because that would not fit my rule of it needing to be less than 10. And I can't stick with 438 again because that wouldn't be less than 10. So I have to think about my decimal point being between the 4 and the 3 to make it 4.38. So I'm going to pick out that number, 4.38 from there. And what do I have to multiply that by in terms of a power of 10? What do I need to multiply that by in terms of a power of 10? I'll just put a little box here because we've figured out the power yet. To get back to this number. So what would I have to multiply 4.38 by to get back to 438,000? Well, let's just use my little place value table up here. So if I put 4.38 here, I would have to jump this to get to 438,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So 438,000. So it's jumped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That 4 has jumped 5 times. So my power of 10 becomes 5. So in standard form, that is 4.38 multiplied by 10 to the 5. And if you want to check it, you can always think about the fact that the decimal point is here. And how many jumps do I have to jump that decimal point to get to 4.38? Well, let's have a look. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, 5 jumps. Okay, part C. Work out, open brackets, 4 times 10 to the 3, close brackets, multiplied by, open brackets, 6 multiplied by 10 to the minus 5, close brackets. Give your answer in standard form. Okay, so multiplying, this is a multiplication question, as you can see here. You can multiply these things in any order, because remember, multiplication, you can do in any order. 3 times 4 is 12, 4 times 3 is 12. So if you do 4 times by 6, you get 24. And if you multiply 10 to the 3, I'm just going to do it over here, multiplied by 10 to the minus 5. If you think about your index laws, if you're multiplying powers, you just add them. So 3 minus 5, or minus 5 plus 3, that would give you 10 to the minus 2. By adding those powers there. So that means that this answer would give you, so 4 times 6 is 24, and 10 to the 3 times 10 to the minus 5 is 10 to the negative 2. It would give you this. But remember, sorry, my pen's jumping there, 24 times 10 to the minus 2. But remember that standard form must obey this rule that I wrote up here, where that initial number here must be greater than or equal to 1 but less than 10. So 24 multiplied by 10 to the minus 2. Well, 10 to the minus 2 is 0.01. to my place value table. And the net effect is, that's 24, and you're multiplying it by 10 to the negative 2. It would go 2 jumps, which would take you there. So that is 0.24. But what is that in standard form? Standard form, that would be 2.4, because remember, I'm trying to get a number from this that is between 1 and 10, times by 10 to the negative 1. Why have I done that? Because I have to jump that once to get to there. So 2.4 times 10 to the negative 1. So let's just quickly recap that. So I've done 4 times 6 to give me 24. I've multiplied my powers of 10, and I've used my rules of indices to get that the answer here is 10 to the minus 2. So this is what you get, but that is not in standard form. If you just did that, you'd probably get one of these marks. But it says to give the answer in standard form. Now this is not in standard form because 24 is not less than 10. It needs to be less than 10. So think about this in your place value table. 24 multiplied by this, which is your 10 to the minus 2, gives you this. And then what is that if we popped it back into standard form? So make it 2.4 because it's got to be a number greater than or equal to 1 less than 10. And I've just adjusted that by then multiplying by 10 to the minus 1.